sketchy. Can you hear me okay? Check. Okay, here we are. Kind of sketchy to give a stewardship talk with so many guests here. So I'm going to try to lighten the mood and we're going to start with Joe, okay? Everybody likes Joe. And this goes back to running the joke down here in our congregation. A couple years ago, I gave a sermon and I made some offhanded comment. The why anyone, when your sound mind and body, would put like carrots in Jello. Why would you shave vegetables that go in the garbage disposal? Oh, I'll just throw that on top of a Jello. I don't get it. Throwaway comment. Well, that comment was not thrown away. And every potluck and funeral lunch we have, it always comes back to me, oh, Pastor Craig, we made some Jello and we didn't put carrots in it for you. Okay, thank you. But the irony of it is, one of the very first things I remember creating in the kitchen when I was a little kid was Jello, right? Because supposedly it's easy to make. You take some boiling water, you put it in the gelatin, you take some cold water, you mix it all up, throw it in the fridge, set up, eat it, right? When I was a kid, I remember trying to make Jello, and I forgot to do the first thing, which was to boil water. And I just put cold water into it, and by the time my mom got in the kitchen and tried to save it with some boiling water, it just didn't work. Because it turns out the very first thing you need to do is put boiling water in, so it will dissolve the gelatinous Jello, and it will be evenly. If you don't, you can try to make it yourself, you can trust me, it's awful. Right? It's awful. But that's life, right? We do the first things first. We follow the recipe, the instruction booklet, the rules, whatever, and things tend to seem to go better. I mean, not always, but usually, right? And when we don't, we tend to struggle. And Paul gives us this message that Josh read for us today in our reading. Paul urges us, one of the strongest and first Christians, Paul, urges us, put first things first in your life. Always put Jesus first. Because God the Father has put him first, the head over everything. He will reign for rulers that past and rulers to come. If you're afraid of the election and all the results, remember that Jesus is king, friends. And ain't nothing going to change that from here to kingdom come. That's where we put our trust. Paul says, put Jesus first. A couple illustrations of doing that. Many of us know, we've talked for a couple of years here at First Lutheran, we're on the precipice of a possible building project, a big one. Renovate the space, finally get rid of the duct tape and the carpet, thank you, bye-bye duct tape, right? And make it look nice in here and welcoming. But that's going to take some sacrifice, shared sacrifice on all our behalf. And we know, especially Pastor Steve, who's done building projects in the past, that sometimes the temptation is to take from your annual giving and hold on to it and then give it to that project when it comes around. So we hired a consulting firm to work us through this process, specifically with this scenario. And I remember talking to a consultant a few weeks ago, Pastor Steve and I on a conference call, what can we do to stem that? So I'll give you two pieces of advice. One, be upfront with your people. All right? Don't hide the fact that you've got a potential multi-million-dollar building project coming. Don't shy away from it. We talk about it up front, like I am now. And two, more importantly, he said, you have to be of a shared understanding with your congregation that you put first things first. That the collective decision of the congregation should always be, our first decision should always be to support the ongoing ministry of the local church. Right? Sounds good when it comes out of my mouth, doesn't it? But why does that make sense? Well, let's walk through it mentally. If we have this big, beautiful building, but we don't have a mission that reaches out to people and preaches people and baptizes people, then what good is the building? The first priority is to be the people of God in the community that God has called us, to support the ongoing ministry of the local church. Okay, that's one. So how do we do that? Well, let me give you a couple of stories to get your mind thinking about that. One goes back to just last week. As Pastor Steve was talking and giving thanks to God, and for all of you, and I certainly do too, we both mutually give thanks to God for all the amazing things you do here through the ministry of this place. As he was talking about that, I was sitting next to a teenager, and I'm trying to think about life applications here, about somebody maybe who's never pledged to give money to a church ever in their lives. And I said, do you have a part-time job? And this teenager, who said I could share the story anonymously, said, well, yeah, I mow my grandma's lawn, once a month in the summer, and she gives me $20. I said, have you ever thought about maybe giving $2 of that 20 here to church, committing to doing it? He goes, no, but I think I'm going to start doing that. So, well, that's easy. Can they all be this easy? So some of us just don't have that creative mind to think, oh, it's just that simple. Another one, a few years ago, I was teaching a class called Financial Peace University, where we were trying to get people out of debt so that they could be more generous and live more freely and have financial peace in their life. And I was very much in debt at the time too. Just recently got out everything with the house. Yay, can't wait to call Dave Ramsey and tell him. So this person in their 20s, this young guy, raised his hand as we're going through this 13-week intensive course. And he says to me, Pastor Craig, this was on week 6, probably not week 1, but he got a little braver at week 6. He said, Pastor Craig, I noticed that the first line of all these forms in Dave's class is forgiving. Giving. G-I-V-I-N-G. Giving. And then all the rest of the stuff, your house, your food, everything else. Since I'm trying to work my way out of debt, wouldn't it just be better for me not to give at this point to the church or anywhere else? And then get myself out of debt, and then once I'm out of debt, then I can start really giving to the church and other places. I said, class, what's wrong with this pretty young person's wondering? And sure enough, a gal in her 30s raised her hand and she said, because if you don't start now and put first things first, you never will start. If you don't start today and you put it off to tomorrow, there'll always be some for tomorrow. Once you're out of debt, then there'll be that prom dress you need to buy, right? Or the car will break down, or you really need to start building away at retirement. And the next thing you know, we're doing your funeral and you've never given anything. That's the way it plays out. So you have to start somewhere. And we encourage that young man to think about just giving, a small portion each month or week while he was digging his way out of debt, and that's what he did. And he called me back later and reported the results, and now he's debt-free. And he says, I'm so glad I listened to the class. That encouraged me to put God first, even while I was digging my out of debt. The third story I want to share with you is a young man who came to me, and he wasn't a teenager. He wasn't in debt. He was doing pretty good in life, but he, faced with this, coming to our congregation, they never considered giving or making a gift. And he said to me, what should I do? And I said, well, I've read a few books on this, and we can make goals, we can set goals, we can have different things for our lives to do, but it really becomes real when we write it down. So I encouraged him. I said, this is what we do in our church. We make our estimate of giving cards, and we write it down. It's a promise that you make between you and God, and we have nothing to do. I don't see any of those numbers. It's between you and God. What you think is right. But I said, biblically, they talk about giving 10% of your wealth. So if you make $5,000 a month, maybe try giving $500. He goes, whoa, $500 a month. I said, hey man, do whatever you want to do. And that's what my wife and I do. We set out, we started tithing when I got out of college, and I've done it ever since. I worked my way out of debt. We've raised, 3 kids, God willing, still raising them, and so forth, right? And we're doing pretty well. But we also feel good about ourselves. Because that we know when we give to God through the local church, we're putting first things first. We're saying, God, you're first in my life. And that young man said, I'm going to try that. A year later, he said, came back to me, never missed a penny. And I've never felt so good about my life. Why wouldn't we want to make a commitment to give something financially to God? Well, let's be honest. I think the number one reason that we would say we wouldn't commit something to give to God is because of fear. Right? There's always that thought in the back of your head, if I give $500 a month or whatever, X dollars a month, a pretty significant amount or whatever, what if something happens and I need that money? If I've already given it, I can't ask for it back. It's gone. And there's that little bit of fear, that twinge, kind of panicky moment you have inside of you. And I'm here to tell you, friends, that little panicky moment doesn't come from God. It doesn't come from anything on earth. In fact, I would argue that comes from the evil one, who is tempting us to put anything else first but God. And when we give, when we commit to write something down and we give it away again, whatever it is that you feel is right between you and God, when we commit, we write something down, we say, God is my first priority. And not you, Satan, get behind me, as my grandma used to say, right? Because God is first place in my life. There's only one thing that can drive out fear in your heart. Only one thing. And I'll give you a secret. The church has a whole lot of it. And that is hope. Hope is the only thing that can destroy fear. Light is the only thing that can dispel darkness. And if there's an ounce of darkness in your heart, then you need to shine a flashlight on it and bring some light to it. That dispels the darkness. Hope dispels the fear. God knows this. God is a God of hope. And how does He give us this hope in our lives? Does He loan it to us? Does He give it to us, on contract? No. God gives the world hope. John 3:16 said, "For God so loved this world that He created that He gave His only Son." Say it with me. For God so created the world, He gave His only Son. Friend, the God who created you and loved you and redeemed you, that God is a giver. And when we give from our lawn mowing, or while we're getting out of debt, or from our abundance, when we give, we become a little bit more like God. We realize that God's hope is with us. And we don't have to be afraid to give or to live or to do anything, because God has given to us so much first, right? And if you do nothing more tonight, then when it comes time to come to this basket with our regular offerings, our commitment cards, or if the next time an offering plate comes around you in church, we're not going to pass it tonight. The next time that happens, if you do nothing more but give your whole heart into that plate, if you give your whole heart to God and say, God, I'm going to put you first, just watch how hope comes into your life. How the love of God, through Jesus Christ, who gave His only Son, is with you and gives you confidence to face your fears with money or anything else in your life. We know we can defeat any goal because of our great God and the love that He has for each and every one of us in Jesus Christ. Amen.